Hello, everyone. Welcome to the comms meeting. Let's see. You guys all have access to the agenda. When this video is set up for other people to take a look at, they will be able to see the agenda too on a link. Let's see. So just to get started before we do some introductions, there were some people from the events and entity team that said they wanted to be part of this. I know at least one of them has said he's just going to catch up on video later on. But I'm not sure what the other, including Kurt and Aaron, are planning on doing. So they might pop in. Let's see. Why don't we go ahead and start with introductions? Why don't you start, Wink?
Hi, I'm Wink. I guess since Emily, we tickled Mink on Playa, default world, I'm an architect, really warm today. So yeah, Joel, I don't think, so Emily, where are you located? You're here?
Yeah, San Francisco.
Okay, yeah. So we're in the midst of an epic heat wave for us. Yeah, so if we're all schwitzing, you'll know why.
Since you're finishing up, why don't you just say whoever's next?
Joel?
Okay, I'll go. I'm outside of New York. I'm actually out in the Hamptons right now. Today is cloudy and rainy all day for some reason, even though it's the middle of August. We've been having, that's what happens here. You get a couple of days of rain and a lot of days of heat. I am that's tech startup founder kind of person, not currently founding any companies, but mostly working on little minor Burning Man projects as I could find them. Really interested in LEDs. That's my current hobby. And I volunteered to help the career burners, especially around the website and the camp directory, which I thought was something really, really useful. The last time when I've only been to Burning Man twice now. So when I was planning to go in 2018 and again in 2019, I found the Queer Burners website to be a really good resource and loved having the camp directory there, and wanted to help make it better. So that's what I'm here for.
Okay, call someone next.
Good morning.
Oh, hi Kurt, we're doing introductions, so I'm going to nominate you to introduce yourself.
I'm Kurt. What else do you want to know?
Just like your camp and your connection to what we're doing right now.
Okay, and we'll jump on in here. Camping with Comfort and Joy, ranger for 5 years, and all of us and the Queer Burner group, I guess, go like 5 years. Yeah. So, yeah, that's it.
Emily?
Hey, I'm Emily. My playa name is Phantom. I camp with Pygmalions, and I was actually working in the tech department at Burning Man project here in San Francisco, and I got laid off in April due to pandemic life. So, like my tech, I guess I was sort of moving in my career from like doing sysadmin and that side of the world, desktop support, into like project stuff and teaching, user education, that kind of stuff. So right now I'm looking for work. I'm living in San Francisco, thinking about maybe leaving San Francisco, and wanting to stay connected to Burning Man, wanting to stay connected to Queer Burners, and wanting to like dig into a project that's like tech adjacent and like just take this opportunity to stay involved. because boy, oh boy, was I so excited to start the next chapter of my life as an employee of Burning Man Project and just like fucking take that, you know. I mean, I was thinking 10 years, 20 years, and then now here I sit. So I want to see how I can help and have it be like mutually yummy for everyone involved, you know.
I guess last but not least is myself. My play name is Toaster. I started a theme camp 7 or 8 years ago called Sun Guardians that had manifested into the Land of Monkey. And then I resigned from that camp in 2019. Yeah. And then I was going to take 2020 off, but the universe, you know, said everybody's taking it off, I guess. So I'm going to try and use this time to do some other positive things for the community. And I do a lot of admin stuff for different queer burner groups. I mean, different burner groups, including queer burners, which I started in 2008. And I'm hoping to see it develop into something very positive and a better service to our overall community. All right. So just jumping over to the agenda, you have it, Kurt?
I did
Link
not.
to you.
I saw it, but I don't have it. Yeah.
It's okay. I sent a link to you in the chat just in case. So just tapping into that real quick. I just want to tap into some admin things real quick because I know we're going to have some new faces today. All the comms meetings and all the entity meetings are, all the events and entity meetings are on a list, on 2 different lists. We're not always going to be intersecting, but we will be on occasion, especially when it comes to certain subjects. And then it's important that some people have some concerns about their information being shared outside of this bubble. And right now, we're asking everybody to respect that and keep everything here. If you do want to talk about this beyond here, you're more than welcome to, but we don't want to share videos outside of the group without other people having a say. You know, there's nothing private, there's nothing covert, but I just want to respect boundaries people have. Let's see. I think a lot of these, and then when our policies are formed by the board, when that eventually happens, then we'll revisit all this at that time. Members of the who have been active in this so far and have made a commitment to getting us to a new level have access to all the queer burner files for these projects going on right now. That right now includes Matt, Kurt, Wink, Joel, Aaron, and myself. And that's the admin stuff. I also want to point out that below here is a list of milestones and action items as they're developing. And I'm going to just continue to grow that and be added to every agenda as we move forward. That way everybody can kind of see what the proposed direction is, and nothing is carved in stone right now. Does anybody have any questions on any of that?
I have a question.
Okay.
It's so QBLN, Queer Burners. What's the L?
Queer Burners Leadership Network.
Okay, thank you.
There's a Facebook group that's specifically that. I can send you a link to it if you want to be in it.
Sure, because I found you through the Queer Burners social network. Facebook.
Yeah. The Queer Burner Leadership Network has been very specific to camp leaders and stuff like that. We've had some stuff in the past where like Burning Man has asked us to organize a meeting and so forth. And that channel has been very helpful in just reaching leadership directly. It's mostly camp leaders, you know, art car leaders and stuff like that,
yeah,
that just want to stay in the loop when stuff comes up in the community.
Thanks.
Anybody else? Okay. Let's see. So I guess that takes us to Wink right now. Did you have any changes to the logo that you were thinking about doing, or?
So I think yes, and sort of I'm going to say midway into it, but happy to share what I've got so far, get feedback. And I think so I can go ahead and share. Oh, if you let me share my screen.
Yeah, give me a second. Let me get that going again. Share. Oops, that's me. Oh, damn. All right, Joel, how do I do it?
I think if you go back to share screen and you can say stop share.
Yeah.
Okay.
Uh,
But then you disable screen sharing too.
hold on, I'm trying to.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. I think I got it now. I clicked the wrong button.
Okay.
Are you good? Yay.
So this is the logo that's on the website now. And so in the discussions that Joel Toaster and I have had, about different aspects of the website, one of the things that I've been a strong proponent of is simplifying things.
Well, can you make it bigger?
Well, actually, this is why I'm intentionally leaving it small right now.
Okay.
And I'll blow it up. So one of the questions with the logo as it was is it had a lot of information in it, and if one was looking at it on a phone or a tablet, questions about how clear it was, and so along with other aspects of the website, I've been, as I said, a proponent of editing things and just making them as simple and clear as we can. So this is the logo today. And one of my thoughts with this was, and this is where sort of at the beginning of this process, just looking for an icon and the name Queer Burners. And then, I think once that's set, other messages can be attached to it when they're appropriate, depending on the scale of the use. So if it's just a thumbnail, it might just be the icon and the name. For the banner header, it could be the icon, the name, and then some tagline message could be attached to it. So with that, I'm going to go through sort of the thought process that I went through in this, and that's saying that I'm sort of just in the middle of it. But, so thoughts for this, oftentimes when I work on logos for clients, we do everything black and white until we've settled on form. But I'm feeling that as Queer Burners, color is, sort of built into it. So I'm thinking that in somewhat cliche, but queer colors are pink and purple. So I've just presented this, just sort of a quick pass at different options for fonts. What was currently in the logo is a stencil font, which I like, but it also makes the name really long. And in some of the other discussions that, we had with Joel is trying to integrate the name into the map of the city. So the existing logo has the stencil font, has the map of the city, is integrating the legacy rainbow, and then is starting to introduce progressive colors. So those are sort of all the things that we're working with. Now, sort of a first pass for me was like, okay, how do we do my thought was the map could become an upside down rainbow, which is also associated with, the rainbow colors, but then introducing all of the colors to it. So I'm just gonna run through it quickly and then we can go back and forth through these. So this was just a quick pass, trying to keep it light, but first pass. And then I was like, wasn't sure about that. This was making the rainbow bolder. This is trying to use the Q as the dominant type element. And again, thinking about how this might be used, having something that can be somewhat compact is useful, and an ability to rearrange the type depending on if it needed to be in a vertical format. So this was another option that saves a little bit of width by dropping burners. And this was an idea we had sort of talked about, as trying to integrate the map into the queue. I sort of like it, but then I feel sort of like the map is lost as an icon, because I think the shape of the city as we know it is such a known, that horseshoe shape is a known element. And I'm not sure if when it gets overlaid onto the queue, whether that gets lost. I mean, disadvantage of being simpler and in some ways more graphic, but you know, so, and there's a few other variations in this, but that's, I think I can stop there.
Oh, let's see them.
Excuse me?
Let's see the other versions you have.
Oh, okay. I mean, this was different spacing for, they're pretty subtle variations.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
They look great.
Yeah. So, I mean, where, like the most, in terms of iterations, this version, and this version are sort of where I got to, feeling that when the rainbow was lighter, I felt like it got lost. It just wasn't strong enough. And so that's, I think, my thought was that the bolder rainbow was important for us. So.
I definitely like the bolder rainbow. I'll say that for sure. I like how it pops and it's recognizable, especially with the, you know, the avenue lines that are kind of just showing up in that. So I appreciate that.
In a further development, I would probably make the avenues more pronounced. Again, depending on the scale, it can, you know, they become a little subtle. So I would probably make them a little more evident, just as a unique aspect of the city, and sort of tying that into an abstraction of the map. So.
Cool. Well, it looks like we're on a path in a positive direction. Anyone else have any thoughts?
I personally love the rainbow. You said the upside down rainbow was representative of something. Does it have some symbolism being upside down?
Well, just it's a city, the plan of Black Rock City.
Well, no, I realize that. I love the fact that you're bringing those two elements together along with. But the upside down rainbow doesn't have some meaning by itself.
Oh, no. The right side up rainbow is like something that's associated with queer life.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No,
So
I love that combination of those elements.
A queerer version of the regular rainbow. So.
And personally, I like the queer burners in one line straight across as very recognizable rather than having two lines. Just my personal preference in terms of something that's going to be catchy, you know, visually.
Well, I think the nice thing is that we got time to figure this out and kind of maybe try some other things too. Because the goal here is a milestone for like December to have this kind of figured out. Right? So we have time. I'm looking at you, Walt, when your eyes got large there for a second.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, just making sure. And then with the rest of the team working on the entity, I think I'd like to get some more input on that too.
Sure.
And then when the guys see the video, I'm sure they'll reach out to you or hopefully share some thoughts about it so we can all participate in that a little bit. There's Matt and Aaron. Am I missing anyone, Kurt? Matt, Aaron. Is the only two missing right now, right?
Those are the only people that have been with us. Can you hear the construction sound in the background of my?
No, you sound fine.
But sorry, there's some construction going on right in my backyard, so I'll try and keep myself muted while that's happening.
Yeah, I mean, our goal right now is to kind of work on all these elements, and that includes what the 501c3 team is doing, with a goal of, you know, between the website, you know, some logo updates, you know, what voice we're going to be carrying forward, to have this all done by the end of the year so we can just launch into the new season with some stronger tools, a new voice, and some great, you know, things planned for 2021, provided, you know, of course, COVID doesn't ruin it for everyone. So, yeah. Does anyone have any other thoughts or comments on this? Okay. Let's see. Sure. I'm trying to get back to my, I can't get out of this screen. How do I get out of this?
Oh, do you want to?
All right, where we go. All right. I mean, that takes us a lot way through the agenda right now. You guys are ready? You want to add anything to it? Joel, do you want to talk about any of your work at all at this point, or?
I haven't actually accomplished anything in the last couple of weeks, but happy to.
Well, you don't have a deliverable due until
yeah,
September 6th. So you're good to go.
Yeah, my goal for then is to. I think the goal. Let's see how I would describe my goal is. Let's try to take the most useful evergreen content that's on Queer Burners right now. Spiff it up a little bit, incorporate it into the website that I'm already building, the Queer Burners directory, with that same like look and feel, margins, the white background color, that kind of stuff, and try to make that one integrated website that has the really useful, what's called evergreen content, that's on Queer Burners, combined with the directory in a single site that's well integrated and feels slick. And then sort of my secondary goal is to make sure that we can edit that rapidly. We don't need like a programmer to go in and change the code just because there's a, you know, one picture has to change or a link changes or something. And the content that I think is the most valuable is some of the history pages. I actually got a queerburners.com and look again so I can remember what I'm talking about. But there's sort of a useful going to Burning Man guide. There's some history stuff. There's sort of some FAQs. There's additional. Those are actually the biggest ones. But you know, when we get all of us going, that will be a prominent link. And then some place where we can post little bits and pieces of news and make it look up to date. But mostly I want queerburners.com to end up being a fairly consistent place that you land and you can find out, you know, what the camps are, how to go to Burning Man, what the history of Queer Burners is and queer people at Burning Man, and, you know, kind of how to contact and how to get in touch with this organization. I think that's the most useful thing for our website. So I'll try to pull that together. There's a lot of other, we may discover sort of other content over time that's on queerburners.com that we want to resuscitate or, you know, renovate or update and bring on as well. And then the older stuff may just live in some kind of an archive section, or I'll have to figure that out for anybody that wants to go back to some particularly not relevant blog post with some news from a very long time ago. So that's really going to be my goal, is get the Queer Burners directory to look more like that. And then one of the other things I was hoping to do is get some user-generated pictures to use as the banner images. Those could maybe rotate, so maybe every time you hit refresh, you get a different banner image, or maybe they change, you know, every day, or maybe there's just a small number that we rotate among and try to. That was sort of my hope, is that sometime before January we could solicitate from the community to donate kind of high resolution, high quality photographs that are both Burning Man and queer at the same time.
I mean, we do have one photographer who's actually in the community with us that has one of the most famous books out about Burning Man.
Oh,
Who might be willing
that?
to contribute. Sydney Earthall is a friend and a member of the Queer Burner community. I can definitely reach out to him and see if he would like to submit some high-res images.
That'd be great. I think if you go back, the nice thing is that now that people have modern iPhones, have ridiculously good cameras. Some of just the janky participant random photos that I've seen floating around are can be really spectacular. So I think that might be a fun thing, is to try to get to come up with like 5 to 10 pieces of photography that we think is like just really makes us feel at home, let's say.
Okay, that sounds great.
So that's what I have on my agenda between now and September, and then continue to tweak this and spruce it up as we get towards about January. And I think around January is the best time to start really leaning on people to update their camp directory entries. And I will allocate some time then as well to add any emergency features or bug fixes that people feel like they need as they update their camp directory posts. My hope there is that this is a reasonable resource for camps that want to recruit new members, or for people that are looking for a camp to join.
The 2019 page that you have now, that's just all data from the list that is that from the spreadsheet I sent you, or is that data?
That's from your spreadsheet. And the only thing I've changed is I did a little bit of poking around to get, I got pictures of the camps, either from their public Facebook group if they have a public group, or from their homepage if they have a web page. And I think in a couple of cases I cleaned up I don't think I really changed anything. I might have, and I got the descriptions. Usually from what they submitted to placement, unless that was too long, and then I might have edited it myself.
I mean, how realistic is it if I get you like some past years submissions and we build up some of that past content using the
for older years?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could probably.
I mean, it doesn't have to be as detailed, but I mean, if we can just get.
You just want to keep the historical
legacy.
Yeah.
Because
I mean,
people want to say, well, I'm going to check out 2019, but who was around in 2018? Are they coming back, and maybe I can chat to them or whatever.
We can definitely do that. That's basically just a data entry project at this point.
I mean, is it data entry, or do I just give you the spreadsheet and it can be imported?
Well, if you give me the spreadsheet, we'll have we won't have the pictures, but we'll have the names.
Okay. Awesome. At least it's something to look back on,
Yeah. Some of it is like my addresses, and the database has the addresses normalized to match the placement database in case that ever becomes useful. So there's a little bit of just a spreadsheet. Somebody has to go in and say, which street goes on the left, which street goes on the right, and just sort of slightly clean that up. Somebody wrote, I don't know, Esplanade by writing ESB or something. Or people would sometimes use the street names, and sometimes they use a letter. That's the only minor amount of work. But I can either do that, or we can get a volunteer to do that. But yeah, there's no question that we can import that all.
I mean, is there a time frame when that might be feasible to look at doing, or I mean, because there's other priorities right now, just with the other stuff going on.
Yeah. Anytime I'll I'll put that slightly lower priority than the history page and the content, the new content. But whenever you want to get that, we can get that. I haven't really got a good way. It'd also be data entry where you kind of, we'd spoken about like if it's celestial bodies, they could have a little link that shows that they've been here, all the years that they attended. I don't know if that's as useful information other than seeing that some of these camps are really well established and some of them are a little bit more flighty.
Yeah. I mean, there's some camps that go back to the early 90s. So
yeah,
it's fascinating it covers them in history a little bit, but I think it's just such an amazing thing for some of these camps to have that much lineage and be represented in the best way possible,
Yep, for sure.
Just a question on this too, in this subject. If let's say Camp Conception, has an entry for 2019, and they put in an entry for 2020 or 2021, is that going to alter the 2019? Because
no.
I would like to see them separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
There will be.
Yes.
And there will be. I haven't actually built this yet, but I'll have a button that lets you copy your previous year's data as your initial.
Oh, that's
right? So if you log on and you say, "Oh, I want to submit for 2021 now."
You're a smart dude. Right on.
Like, all right, here's what you already have. Go ahead and edit that.
Yeah.
And that'll be your 2021 entry.
Okay. And then the 2019 would be fine.
And the 2019 would be frozen as it was. Yeah.
Because I'd like to maintain that legacy. I don't know why. Maybe I'm a hoarder for paper.
You're an archivist.
Yeah, I think I really am, to be honest with you. I want the past to stay, that snapshot, and then I want the world to keep evolving. And
yeah, my
camp itself has grown significantly every year and become such a different. You saw it from a baby to full-grown adult, and it's nice to see that in what people post over time too. I don't know. Again, I think that's that archivist inside of me.
Yeah. I think we're probably gonna. My camp is gonna end up changing its name more than twice a year. Probably gonna have, on average, 2.3 names per year that we actually attend Burning Man.
There's a couple of camps that change their name every year.
Yeah.
And that can be fun. It always brings on new energy. Right on. Okay. We've covered a lot of good stuff already. I really appreciate that. Hey, Emily, so in the scope of the things that we've seen so far, is there anywhere you feel like you'd like to get your hands dirty? Because one of the things that I need to bring up too is like, and this isn't necessarily directed at you, but I'm also thinking about Wink for this as well, is that just getting that content we've been talking about edited. And I don't know who's the right person for that per se, but as we move forward, I think all that stuff that I wrote needs other eyes on it. And if something doesn't make sense, which, is there an editor out there? Or do you see yourself more on a technical side?
I actually see myself on the place where those two things meet, writing and editing and tech. That's actually like my total sweet spot. So I hid my self view and now I want to turn it back on because I'm as distracted as I am not seeing myself. It's equally distracting. Okay, hi me. Yeah, so I'd love to edit and scrub data. I can do that. I'm curious, is the data coming from placement at the org or is the data self?
No, are you talking about the camp information?
Like the legacy?
Yeah, the camp.
Legacy.
The camp data, historically, Scott has just gotten people to submit it usually with a Google form type thing. And then he's sort of put it in HTML format in these little simple tables on the website, and you can still see them all at queerburners.com. On the history page, there's a link to all the previous years of camps. I think those still all work, right? Yeah. And the placement also has data, but they don't have any kind of flag that says that a camp is in any way associated or queer or LGBTQ or in any way. Although they've sort of, they offered to put in such a flag. They told me, hey, we'll put in a flag like that, and then you can just get all this data right from our database. But their database is also not, it's assembled from what people submit when they want to be a theme camp. And so a lot of times it's just somebody in the middle of the night rushing to get something that placement will accept and give them placement. And I think there are even non-placed camps that aren't in the placement in the official API. And the official API doesn't come out until like 20 minutes before Burning Man starts. Especially the location, because placement is annoying about that. So yeah, we just have our kind of our own data.
Okay, so Scott had asked, like, what do I want to do? I think, is that what you're asking, Scott?
Yeah, I say, where do you see yourself in the scope of this group of people here?
Definitely writing and editing is one of my strong things. And I can sit around and scrub data and, you know, make sure that it goes into WordPress or Squarespace or whatever you're using for the back end.
The back end is all WordPress as it is today.
Yeah, so, you know, I really just want to like get started, but I am a writer and an editor and a teacher and a tech person. So.
I mean, as far as the content's concerned, there's a couple of things. Like, I've been kind of working a lot with Wink on him kind of taking more kind of a leadership role on the comm side. You know, so just kind of maybe if you guys want to tag each other on this and just see where that goes. The content can be, it can be whatever's needed to make it palatable and clean. One of the things I've brought up before and that's been brought to my attention with Queer Burners as it is today is it has my name all over it. And it's me and me and me and me. And I don't want that. You know, I even tried one time posting as, you know, admin without my name associated with it, but it still didn't really fly. You know what I mean? Because people just see Queer Burners as
on
Toaster.
On Facebook page?
No, on the website specifically. You know, I do have other people that are admins on Facebook that have their own voices coming in periodically, but I'm still probably the most connected to it right now. And as we advance, you know, that's going to evolve too, depending on how the comms team comes together. We have a great team now, don't get me wrong. But I just see it evolving and going further away from, you know, Scott's voice versus the voice of the community. Does that sound good?
Yes. So, I mean, I'm someone who likes to jump in, you know, so if there's something that you have an immediate need to get done, task.
I don't think any of our needs right now are not immediate, but the pages that Joel talked about, like history, go to Burning Man, FAQ, all of us, Camp Directory, for example, that I've listed in the agenda, are good places to start. I mean, if you were to just create a document on the side, maybe do it in the group and I'll give you access to the folder, and, you know, get Wink. I don't know how deep Wink wants to get involved with that, but
I'm happy to take a pass at things right now. I'm happy to work on the visual part, but I also enjoy, you know, like not editing. I mean, but happy to proofread things and just like, so.
No, that's cool. I mean, then that gives Emily a chance just to go ahead and grab that documentation
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
start editing it. And maybe you'll see ways that it can be expanded and have some suggestions that you can bring to the table next time we meet. Does that-
Jump in
I'm
too, if I could.
looking at the website right now, you know. Yeah, Kurt?
Yeah, so I'm also very interested in the editing side of things, and also just the branding essentially of the organization. So it ties in with our logo and the web presentation, and making sure that there's sort of a cohesive voice across the whole thing, and the visual is cohesive across the whole thing. That's also what I've done professionally. So I'm in copy editing as well as writing. So I'm willing to jump in and contribute as needed there, at any level. So I'm excited about taking that, everyone having that level of interest. And it sounds like we have a lot of really strong, visual and content people right here in this meeting. So it's really excited to see people paying attention to those small details like punctuation and color scheme, and everything from the font used in the logo. Those are all issues that are great. I'm really thrilled to see them being addressed. So I'd love to.
Oh yeah, totally. The website has just become this tangled octopus that has keep growing limbs over the years, and it's the ideas that are here on the table right now to make this a more focused element moving forward is good.
Yeah. One of the things I also wanted to just put out there is I really appreciate Scott's artwork, especially with the All of Us logo and how it's developed and changed, at least in the last 5 years that I've seen it. And I'm wondering if that could be tied into like the history, like the years as we move along. Like this is the vision that we had then, the event and the logo that would be for whatever 2015 and then 2016, and because those logos have changed and they represent the evolution of the thinking and of the community, and it just might be nice to preserve that in a really strong visual way.
You're speaking to the choir on that one, baby. I've already been called out on wanting to catalog history.
Right.
Joel.
No, but I would really like to see those logos highlighted somehow, as like maybe in the banner for each year or something like that, a headline of some sort.
I appreciate it. Definitely, it sounds like, in the history section as that takes shape. I have had a lot of good information from people over the years. Be nice to get more, but I don't have the channels right now or the bandwidth for it. So it sounds like there's the entity team, which is working on identity and stuff like that, and then from the 501c3 point of view, then there's the identity from the website and the content of what's on there. That these will all have to merge at some point. But if we get these ideas put together and out there, and at some point there's going to be a page that has to talk about Queer Burners as a 501c3 and what our real mission is. That'll be something that'll be added later on too. But in the meantime, maybe Emily, if you want to just steal all that content down and play with it, and then do you think you'd be ready at the next meeting to talk about it, or
Literally log into the WordPress and edit?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Why don't you just pull the information down and create documents in the shared folder, which I'll give you access to for the website.
Walt, can you stop sharing your screen?
Yeah.
Por favor. Thank you.
Do you want to share screen? Hold on.
No, I just wanted to get a cleaner view on my tiny little.
Oh, okay. I was trying to figure out how to do it here. I was like going.
All right, so what I am being asked to do is take a pass at editing and organizing information on the website. I just want to be clear about what I'm
And maybe for now, the primary focus at the moment would be history, going to Burning Man, the FAQ,
Uh-huh.
all of us. Those are the more content-driven pages that are contextual, and yeah.
Queer history. All right, hang on. Queer burner history. Let's write this down. Queer history going to Burning Man. And you said a third one. Queer burner history.
Going to Burning Man
And all of us.
and the FAQ.
Oh, and the FAQ. Yeah, I'd love to do that.
Do you think you'd have that ready by the next meeting?
Yeah, what's the cadence of the meetings?
The cadence? Oh, when are they happening? First and third Sundays of the month.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, awesome.
History going to Burning Man. Sorry, I'm just writing this down again. I'm just doing a little copying and pasting here. Yeah, I'll pull down copies of those offline and I'll take an editing and organizing pass on them for 2 weeks from today.
Cool.
Yeah, you know, I was at a meeting, a work meeting, like a panel at our all hands on-site meeting last year, and it was just like a storytelling panel. So it was Harley Dubois, Affinity Mingle, who died last year, like just 3 women who have been either founders or long time burners. And I was so curious about when gays started going to Playa that I asked the question. And Affinity, Harley is really the one who's like Harley and Marion are both devoted to diversity and inclusion and, you know, hearing from the community and moving wherever the org needs to move. But it felt to me like Marion sort of is doing it just because she's open to all forms of input, but Harley is the one who really understands like the emotional importance of diversity and inclusion and is more attuned to like how this work. I just say like Harley's like kind of, to use a terrible word, a little bit more woke, and has a broader idea about why anyone should care about anything beyond jackassery and these sort of general ideas about what true, like I think Harley is more attuned to the idea that Black Rock City is actually a liberatory place versus Marion is more like, this is a fucking party where we can build shit and burn it down. So I raised my hand and asked, when did queer started coming to Playa? Because I'm newer to Burning Man. I only first started going in 2018. And Harley was able to tell me about when the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence were really the first people that were like in the inner circle, in center camp, in with like friends with San Francisco founders. And I think it's like really amazing that you all are preserving the history of queer burners, because it didn't seem to me like anyone inside org leadership really has a handle on it, queer burner history, nor do they have a particular interest in preserving that history. You know, and so it's just awesome. Like it comes from the community at large, like all Burning Man culture does go outside in, right? And then the inside becomes the outside, and the paths gather and cross. And then now there's so much work being done inside the Oregon, you know, racial and economic diversity and inclusion. And it's just really important that we keep doing the work to.
One of the things you'll see in the history section is Sister Porn's contributions to the story. And Sister Porn is a sister of Perpetual Indulgence who used to work at Burning Man.
And it just, you know, as a queer person and a burner and someone who's lived in San Francisco for 20 years, it just, I never felt that Burning Man was something for me, because the sort of story that I let myself hold on to about Burning Man was that it was very straight. Even though I've been interested in radical communities for most of my adult life, I never saw that Burning Man was part of the legacy of radical communities that included queer people. So I'm really interested in preserving the history and, you know, telling our own story.
Can I ask you a question, Emily?
What's that?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
So now, having been exposed to Burning Man a little bit more intimately, do you still feel that it was a straight event? I mean, because I'm just asking that, you know, what your impression is.
No, not at all. I mean, I camp with Pygmalions, so it's literally like.
But I mean, in terms of the history, like.
Oh, in terms of the history.
Does it change your perception of what, you know?
Well, it's sort of like what, as a queer person, I've always had to do my own work to find my history, because it's hidden and it's not the dominant culture, not the narrative. But I do find that people who don't know Burning Man don't know how fucking queer it is.
Right.
Okay. And furthermore, I think I also have another curiosity about like how sort of like BDSM culture got to be so present at Burning Man. I'm interested actually in like, when did that happen? When did everyone start running around in harnesses? And when did that become?
Oh, I think that was in the beginning. I've definitely seen history of.
Yeah.
There was a story recently that I heard about, just because there were sort of very prominent BDSM camps on Esplanade, like from the kind of the very beginning, like 95, 96, 97, like sort of the early organized years. I think from the beginning of Esplanade, it was very prominent. There was a story on one of those podcasts. I don't know which podcast I was listening to. It might be, there's now an official Burning Man live podcast, and there was a story of you know, when the local Nevada sheriff came to negotiate all of the things that he wanted Burning Man to do some year before he would allow them to open, and at some point a nearby camp that had sort of people, you know, hanging in various weird contortionist positions from various mutations on their body. Just happened to be just kind of like parading by, and the sheriff was like, all right, everybody, that was the end of that conversation. Like, finally seen enough. So yeah, I'm pretty sure. And then there's definitely like poly camps and BDSM camps that are, yeah, like really go back to the very beginning. And it's just from what I've read in the history. I also remember at some point there was a lot of mainstream publicity around the Burning Man census. And it did specifically state that, and I'm sure we had that. You'll find that in the Burning Man history on Burning Man on Queer Burners, that showed that like the number of straight participants as being very, very small number of gay participants being kind of larger even than in San Francisco.
Yeah, that's actually from,
So I always thought of it as being,
that's from some documentation
yeah,
we actually got from Burning Man. Because because
yeah,
the census that year in 2015, there was about 2/3 of the Burning Man participants that identified as queer or other, sexual identification. And
yeah. I mean, I definitely learned about that long before I learned about Burning Man. And I always thought it was disproportionately, highly queer or
Well, I see.
otherwise.
Without wanting to wrap up, Scott, I just wanted to say that working at headquarters, and so yeah, this is all true, right? And also working at headquarters is like there's a lot of queer people that work there, but the sort of dominant narrative from leadership does not include this huge. What is that true? Yeah, this is just what I feel. There was a missing layer of like acknowledging that Burning Man is like a fucking radical sexual liberatory space. And
Yeah.
I have just larger questions about that, how it relates to, BDSM, safe sex, AIDS. Well, of course it's.
Well, definitely sexual liberation is part of self-expression too. And, one of the things I've always said about the 10 principles is those 10 principles speak to queer people or LGBT people because that's the world we want to live in, that's in my mind. And I think it and there's a lot of people, that whether other acronyms that they feel strongly about too. You see people that don't normally express themselves, coming out and expressing themselves in all kinds of ways they would never do, in the real world. So I just want to start wrapping up if you guys don't mind. I try and keep these at an hour so we don't eat up our days. What we're leaving with today is that Wink is going to be working more on some logo ideas. Emily's going to be doing some editing of the content. Joel is still working on some of the way the new website will talk to people as far as navigation and imagery is concerned. I'll reach out to Sydney Earthall on some images, see if we can get him on board with that. And I'm not sure who else. There's a bunch of photographers that would probably be interested in doing this.
Yeah. I'm worried we get too much content and then people will be insulted that we don't incorporate it. But it would definitely be fun to have a gallery and just go a few times around the social media asking people to contribute their high-res images along with a little checkbox that says they allow us to use them. And then we can just always sort of pull those things out, as we write the history document or going to Burning Man, we can have 14 amazing pictures illustrating everything, and that'll all make it feel much more modern and shiny.
And we're going to see some intersection of the two different teams probably going forward. You can see that Kurt's here from the other team right now. Myself, I'm also participating in that. We're just going to make sure that the voice that we move forward with is the same. We've got a lot of time between now and using December as kind of a major milestone. These teams have been meeting since May, so we've done a lot, but we still have a little bit more to accomplish, and I'm understating that, but I think we're moving in a really good direction. Any final thoughts before we take off for the day? Any gratitudes? Any? I hope they find a vaccine for COVID really soon. I'm really grateful that I haven't gotten it. Has any of you had COVID or that you want to even talk about? No? God bless.
I think I may have had it end of January. I had a really weird cold, flu, illness.
Yeah, some people it's affected really bad, some people really lightly. I mean, myself, if I get it, I know I'm a goner because I've only got 3/4 of my lung and not much of a diaphragm, and it's not working great for me if I get it. So that's why I'm so careful.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I really appreciate your time today. The events and entity team, they're still a combined thing because it's still the same people. And we don't have anything, an event that we're specifically working on right now. So the focus is on the entity right now. There's part of that is going to be eventually a fundraiser to get the money that we need to do all of our filing and to start planning tickets for All of Us 2021, assuming that's going to happen. But none of that groundwork's been laid yet. So we'll keep everybody updated. I've increased access, so everybody has access to all the files on this project at this point, except for Emily right now, which I will correct as soon as we're done with our meeting.
Thanks for having me, everyone.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Scott. Nice to see everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Hi all.